A short monsoon diary. Okay, now in this chapter we will be covering about the experiences written by author Ruskin Bond in his diary. Okay, he's experiencing monsoon showers in Missouri, so he's recording all his experiences there. And he also writes about the silent miracles of nature as the mountains receive monsoon showers. The monsoon season in Missouri begins around the last week of June and continues till the end of August. So he is describing of all those days. And also he describes the cold rains that are welcomed in October till the last darkest cloud in March. So let's read about his experiences. Before you read, do you know what a diary is? It is a record of personal experiences written day after day over a long period of time. So he used to write this. You can also use a diary to note down things to those you plan to do immediately or in future. One of the most famous diaries published as a book is the Diary of Anne Frank. If you remember, you have read about her in history, right? Now, here are a few extracts from Ruskin Bond's diary in which he portrays the silent miracles of nature and life's little joys and regrets. Read on. So, June 24th, the first day of monsoon mist. Now, what is mist? Mist is a cloud of tiny water droplets which is suspended in the atmosphere or near the Earth's surface that limits the visibility. So, you are not able to see clearly. Nothing is visible, okay, around it. So the first day of monsoon mist, and it's strange how all the birds fall silent as the mist comes climbing up the hill. Perhaps that's what makes the mist so melancholy. Not only does it conceal the hills, it blankets them in silence too. Only an hour ago the trees were ringing with bird song, and now the forest is deathly still, as though it were midnight. So here in this paragraph he is explaining, like, he's telling you about the glimpse of the monsoon mist that came on June 24th. Okay, and he says that he calls it strange because earlier the birds were chirping on the trees, but suddenly as the mist came, they went silent as a cloud of tiny water droplets climbed up the hill. And he also explains the mist is called melancholy because it is very depressing. It is a depressing experience when the mist comes. Everything is so silent. There is a strange kind of silence everywhere. He says melancholy means very sad. The mist is called melancholy because it makes people feel melancholy. It makes people sad. They feel depressed because nothing is visible. They are not able to hear the bird sounds. So everything is like it stops. Okay. And he says it is melancholy for two reasons. First, it covers up the mountains, hides the serene view. Second, it silences the birds, hereby bringing sadness because only an hour ago, before the mist appeared, the trees could be heard ringing with the chirping of birds. He can hear the sounds. Okay, the birds were playing there, they were chirping. And he also called the forest as deathly still, as if it is almost midnight. It is that much silence, as it is midnight, right? Now through the mist, Bijju is calling to his sister. Now he is only able to hear Bijju's sound. He is not able to see him. Bijju is a local boy who lives in Missouri. He is calling his sister, but he is not visible because of that mist. He say, I can hear him running along the hillside, but I cannot see him. Okay. Now June 25. Some genuine early monsoon rain, warm and humid, and not that cold high altitude stuff we have been having all year. Now, in this paragraph, he is saying that on the 25th day of June that year, the hills witnessed some early monsoon rain. Now, the rain finally came, which brought with itself warmth and humidity, and it is different from the showers that the hills receive all the year that cools the environment at such high altitude. Because Missouri is at high altitude, so whenever the rain comes, it brings cold weather with it. But this time it's warmth. It's filled with warmth and humidity. There is no coolness in it, right? He also says the plants seem to know it too. And the first cobra lily rears its head from the ferns as I walk up to the bank and post office. Now, as he was walking from the bank to the post office, he saw that the cobra lily. Now, what is a fern? Fern is a non-flowering plant. So, he is talking about that plant. See here, a flowerless plant with a feathery green leaf. The mist affords a certain privacy. A schoolboy asked, me to describe the hill station and valley in one sentence, and all I could say was a paradise that might have been. Now, he says, when asked, upon being asked by a schoolboy, the author described the hill station as a valley, as a paradise that might have been, means because it's it is at a high altitude and it's covered with snow in the winter season, and it looks like a swarg. So he says it is just like earlier it was swarg. It is a paradise. So a paradise that might have been. Earlier it was a paradise only according to him. It means that during monsoon season the hill station and the valley must seem heavenly, which is why it has been referred to as a paradise. It looks heavenly with all the shining leaves all around, the mist, and the cold weather, everything. It makes it feel like a paradise. Then comes June 27. The rains have heralded the arrival of some seasonal visitors, a leopard and several thousand leeches. Now he says, the rains have announced or brought the news of the arrival of some seasonal visitors, a leopard. Now, during rainy season, the leopard arrives there. Several thousand leeches come there. Leeches. Now, what are leeches? Leeches are blood-sucking parasites. Okay, and they are very scary, very deadly. Okay. Yesterday afternoon, the leopard lifted a dog from near the servants' quarter below the school. Now, he is telling about the yesterday's afternoon incident when the leopard picked up a dog from near the servants' quarter, which was below the school. He says, in the evening it attacked one of Bijou's cow, but fled at the approach of Bijou's mother, who came screaming in imprecations. He said, and in the evening that the same leopard he attacked Bijou's cow as well, but he fled at the approach of Bijou's mother because she came screaming. And because of her screaming, because of a loud noise, that leopard fled and the cow was saved. And then he says, as for leeches, I shall soon get used to a little bloodletting every day. Now he says, bloodletting means losing blood. Decades ago, leeches were used to remove blood from a patient's body. So it means that this is a kind of treatment. Some people undergo it. The leeches, they suck the damaged blood, which is not useful for us nowadays. Now, which is not useful. So they suck that impure blood, and then a new blood will get pumped into your body. So this is a kind of treatment. So he's saying here now, if the leech will bite me, then it will suck my blood. So I should be ready for that. Other new arrivals are the scarlet minivets. The females are yellow. Now he also tells about the scarlet minivets. It's like a cuckoo bird whose male birds are bright red color and females are yellow in color. Okay, so that they have also appeared. Now he says, flitting silently among the leaves like brilliant jewels, no matter how leafy the trees, these brightly colored birds cannot conceal themselves. Although by remaining absolutely silent, they sometimes contrive to go unnoticed. Along come a pair of drongos. Now drongos we will study later. Let me explain in this paragraph first. So now he has already told you about the arrival of scarlet minivets, and then he says they move so swiftly and lightly among the leaves, giving the appearance of brilliant jewels around them. And these birds are so bright in color that regardless of how leafy the tree is, it is difficult for them to hide themselves, difficult for them to conceal themselves. However, sometimes they manage to go unnoticed by remaining absolutely silent. Okay. Then he also tells about the pair of drongos. Drongo is a songbird with a stout bill. Okay. So also comes a pair of drongos, unnecessarily aggressive, chasing the minivets away. Now when these drongos come, they are so aggressive, they are so they are so angry, short tempered in their nature that they choose to they chase these minivets away. They don't let them sit on the trees on which they want to sit. Okay, so they chase them away. A tree creeper moves rapidly up the trunk of oak tree, snapping up insects all the way. Now that the rains are here, there is no dearth of food for the insectivorous birds. Now he's saying a tree creeper, he is moving rapidly up the trunk of the oak tree, snapping up insects all the way. Now there is, because the rains are here, so there is no scarcity of food for that tree creeper. Okay, so he climbs up the trunk of the oak tree carrying insects with it, because there are a lot of insects nowadays. Whenever the rains come, the insects, they come from beneath the soil, they come on the ground. So now there is no scarcity of insects for these insectivorous birds who feed on insects. Now comes the comprehension check. Let's do it. Why is the author not able to see Bijju? Because of the mist. So the author was not able to see Bijju due to the mist that covered the hills of Masuri like a thick white blanket, and he was just able to hear his voice, not able to see him. The second question: what are the two ways in which the hills appear to change when the mist comes up? So when the mist comes up, it covers and conceals the hills completely with a thick blanket. Besides, the trees that usually ring with bird songs tend to appear deathly silent, as the birds do not make any chirping sound and react as though it were midnight. Okay, so the birds feel that it is midnight, right? August 2. All night the rain had been drumming on the corrugated tin roof. Drumming means falling noisily on the corrugated tin roof because it was tin roof. So when the raindrops were falling on it, it was making a sound. Okay. There has been no storm, no thunder, just a steady swish of a tropical downpour. It helps me to lie awake. At the same time, it doesn't keep me from sleeping. Now, here the author is saying that the rain had been falling noisily on the corrugated tin roof. There was no storm or thunder. There was no lightning, no thundering in the sky. Just the smooth falling of the tropical raindrops. It made it easier for the author to lie awake. However, because of that sound, he was not able to sleep. But he says, however, at the same time, it didn't prevent him from falling asleep. He says it is a good sound to read by. The rain outside, the quiet within, and although tin roofs are given to springing unaccountable leaks, there is a feeling of being untouched by and yet in touch with the rain. Now he is saying, as the rain is falling from that leak, because the tin roof is leaking, the tin roof is leaking. Now here the author is saying, as the tin roof is leaking, he can the drops are falling on him also. Now he says, as I am, in the house, I am secured by a roof on my head, but still I can feel that rain. I am not remain untouched because from the leaks the water is coming on him as well. Then August 3, the rain stops. The clouds begin to break up. The sun strikes a hill on my left. A woman is chopping up sticks. I hear the tinkle of cowbells. In the oak tree, a crow shakes the raindrops from his feathers and caws disconsolately. Disconsolately means unhappily. Now, what this means is, now here he is saying the rain stops on the 3rd of August. The clouds begin to separate, giving way to the sun on the writer's left. A woman could be seen cutting sticks into smaller pieces and the tinkle of cowbells could be heard. Now here Ruskin one is saying the rain stops on the 3rd of August. The clouds begin to separate, giving way to the sun on the writer's left. Then a woman could be seen cutting sticks into smaller pieces, and the tinkle of cowbells could be heard. Tinkle of cowbells means the cows, they wear bells on their necks, right? So that could be heard as they are moving. Then a crow is sitting on the oak tree. It shooks itself to get away with the raindrop on its feathers, right? When there is water on the body of animals or birds, they shook themselves to get rid of that water drops, the raindrops. And on its feathers there were raindrops, so it shook itself as it caught unhappily, and water dripped from the leaking drain pipe that carried off rainwater from the building. Now he also says that water drips from a leaking rain pipe, and suddenly clean and pure, the song of the whistling thrush emerges like a dark, sweet secret from the depths of the ravine. Ravine means valley. He says, now the water is dripping from the leaking rain pipe that carried off rainwater from the building. As everything settled, the pure song of the whistling thrush could be heard like a dark, sweet secret from the depths of the valley. Now, when the water has escaped from the drain pipe, the rain has stopped. Now he can experience the chirping of whistling thrush. Okay, from the depths of the ravine, from the depths of the valley. August 12th, endless rain and a permanent mist. We haven't seen the sun for 8 or 9 days. Everything damp and soggy, nowhere to go. Now, on August 12th, again it's raining endlessly. It is not stopping, and a permanent mist is there. He says we haven't seen the sun for 8 or 9 days. So from the last 8 or 9 days, the rain is continuously falling. Everything is damp, everything is wet and soggy, nowhere to go. Pace the room, look out of the window at a few bobbling umbrellas. Now he says, as I look out from the window of my room, I only see umbrellas because when the people are moving on the street, they are carrying umbrellas because of the rain. At least it isn't cold rain. He says it is not at least cold rain. There is no coldness in the weather. The hillsides are lush as late monsoon flowers begin to appear. Wild balsam, dahlias, begonias, and ground orchids. Now he says the vegetation could be seen growing luxuriously because in during rainy season there are a lot of new plants that grow. That is the best season for the plants to grow. So here he's saying the vegetation could be seen growing and abundantly on the hillsides as the last monsoon flowers begin to blossom. And the flowers he's telling are wild balsam is blossoming, dahlias, begonias, and ground orchids are blossoming because of the rain. Now comes August 31. It is the last day of August and the lush monsoon growth has reached its peak. Now, because of the monsoon, there is a lot of growth of the flowers, the leaves, the vegetation. So he says it has reached its peak now. It is so much everywhere. The seeds of the cobra lily are turning red, signifying that the rains are coming to an end. Now, he says we can easily get to know the rains are coming to an end because the seeds of cobra lily are turning red now. Okay, and now it is a time for the rains to end. In a few days, the ferns will start turning yellow, but right now they are still firm, green, and upright. As the plant grows, it is green, and as it grows old, it turns yellow. So he is telling in few days the ferns will start turning yellow because, but right now they are young. They are still firm, green, and upright. Ground orchids, mauve lady slipper, and the white butterfly orchids put on a fashion display on the grassy slopes of Landor. Wild dahlias, red, yellow, and magenta, rear their heads from the rocky crevices where they have taken hold. Crevices means narrow openings or cracks in rock or wall. So these dahlias they appear from small cracks on the wall as well. So here he is explaining us that the ground orchids, mauve lady slipper, and the white butterfly orchids, all these are flowers, these plants, put on a fashion display on the grassy slopes of Landor. They are everywhere. These are so they are in so much of quantity that as it there is a fashion parade going on, right? In all the colors, in so many beautiful colors everywhere. Then he says wild dahlias, red and yellow and magenta. So see how many colors of dahlias are there. They rear their heads from the rocky crevices where they have taken hold. Okay, so crevices you can I've already told you the meaning and you can also learn from here. Children, please learn all these meanings which are here on the sides. These are very important. Okay. Now snakes and rodents flooded out of their holes and burrows take shelter in roofs, attics, and godowns. Now, as the rainwater fills in the houses because the snakes and these rodents live in the inside the soil, under the soil. So the rain gets filled because of rainy season, and they have to come out from their home because their home is under the soil. So now there is water, so they have to move out from there. They come on the grounds and they make holes. They take shelter in roofs, attics, and godowns. In Shrew, weak of eyesight, blunders about the rooms, much to the amusement of the children. Shrew means so. Shrew is also like is a small insectivorous mammal, just like a mouse, right? And it makes sound also. If you can if you know its Hindi name is Chachundar, and it, it signifies luck. If you might have, you can ask your parents or you can ask your grandparents. They might tell you about Chachundars. They are very good if they come in your house. They bring good luck to your house. Okay. So now he's telling about them. And they are blind. They are not very good at their eyesight. They are very weak eyesight, almost blind. Okay, they blunders about the room. They roam here and there in the rooms. They exactly they can't see, so they don't know where to go. That is why they just roam here and there. Much to the amusement of children. Amusement of children means the children, they feel very happy after seeing them. Okay, then don't kill it, admonishes their grandmother, because the Shundars are lucky, they bring money, and it is a saying that they bring money, they are lucky. So the grandmother says, don't kill them, don't do any harm to them. And sure enough, I receive a check in the mail, not a very large one, but welcome all the same. Now he says, at the very time, I also believe that they are lucky, because at the same time he receives a check in the mail, not a very large amount, but yes, it was welcoming. Now he is talking about October 3. Okay. October 3. We have gone straight from monsoon into winter rain, snow at higher altitudes. After an evening hailstorm, the sky and hills are suffused with a beautiful golden light. Now here he is saying the month of October came, and it is like a extended monsoon season only, because just around September, in the beginning of the September, at the end of August, the monsoon season ended, and again the winter rains have now started because the winter season has appeared. The high altitudes are covered with snow all over, and it's the snow all only. Just in October, the mountains, they are all covered with snow all over. And he also says that the sky and hills were bathing in beautiful golden light after experiencing a hailstorm an evening before. Now, an evening earlier there was a hailstorm, barafbari, okay, and when the next morning the sun comes, the sun glares in the sky when it falls on that snow. The snow appears like a beautiful golden, a golden thing, a golden light appears from it, and it is a very beautiful experience to see that. It appears as everything is, gold color, golden in color, okay. Now January 26th, winter reigns in the hills. Now winter is continuing because it's January. In the hushed silence of the house, when I am quite alone and my friend who was here has gone, it is very lonely, very quiet, and I sit in a liquid silence, a silence within, surrounded by the rhythm of rain, the steady drift of water on leaves, on lemons, on roof, drumming on drenched dahlias and window panes, while the mist holds the house in a dark caress. Now in January also the hills are receiving winter rains. The author talks about, he says he is very quiet, he is very alone in his house, right? Because in the mountains, whenever there are, because in mountains the snow falls very early during the month of October only, and it continues till February. So there is very less movement of people because of the snow on the roads, and as it is raining also, so the people, they always try to stay at their home, because it's not very safe, it's not very easy to go outside, it's not very easy to walk on snow, it's very slippery, it is dangerous also, so the people, they try to remain at home only. So he's saying that I'm all alone in this, alone and quiet in this still house. The friend who has accompanied him a while ago has also left. He mentions how he is very lonely and quiet as he sat in a complete silence, experiencing the silence within. When you are alone and there is silence all over, you can experience the silence within as well, right? He was surrounded by the rhythm of the rain, the slow and gentle movement of water on leaves. Whenever the water, they fell on the leaves, you can hear a sound, right? Thup sound. So he says, I can hear that slow and gentle movement of water on leaves, lemons, and roof as it drummed on already wet dahlias and window panes. The mist covered the house gently in its darkness. The mist is still holding the house, still covering the house in a dark caress. As I pause near a window, the rain stops and starts again, and the tree is no longer green but grey, menace me with their loneliness. He says, as I stand near a window, the rain stops and then it starts again in a short time. He also mentions that the trees are now grey. They are not green anymore because continuous falling of, you know, water on it, and then cold weather. The leaves have turned grey now, threatening him with their loneliness. The leaves are also threatening him. menacing him with their loneliness. They're also lonely now. Then comes March 3, late March, end of winter. The blackest cloud I have ever seen spotted over Missouri, and then it hailed marbles for half an hour. Nothing like a hailstorm to clear the sky. Even as I write, I see a rainbow forming. He says now, late March, it's March 23 now, and this is the end of winter season. He recorded having seen the blackest and darkest cloud resting all over Missouri. Now he is again seeing that blackest cloud all over the sky on the Missouri sky. It poured hail. Hailstorm is ole padna. Okay, it's like they are like small stones of ice. He says it poured hail that looked like marbles for about 30 minutes. So seriously, the hail sometimes those hailstorms, those olas, they are so big in size that it feels like marbles are falling. Okay, and it rained about for 30 minutes. He reveals how there is nothing like a hailstorm, but it clears the sky. Okay, he mentions that even as he is writing his diary, a rainbow was in its formation. While writing this about this incident of March 23, he can see a rainbow forming in the sky because hailstorm just appeared for half an hour and then there is sky. So we all know that rainbow forms when there is sunlight also, and some water droplets are left in the atmosphere. So the rainbow it appears. So you can see a rainbow forming just after the hailstorm. So here we come to the end of this chapter. Let's do this comprehension check. And children, I will also post this comprehension check in a separate video as well. So don't worry about it. Comprehension check. When does the monsoon season begin and when does it end? How do you prepare to face the monsoon? Now in India we all know that monsoon season starts around the end of June, right? And it extends till September. Okay? And according to author in this chapter, the monsoon season starts in Missouri from June 24 or 25 and it continues till August 31 and around the mid of September, right? And then again in October it started the winter rains. And how we prepare ourselves to face the monsoon, the second part of the question. We usually carry umbrellas and raincoats to face the monsoon and we protect ourselves from getting wet, right? And because there's change in weather, so we have to protect ourselves from falling sick unnecessarily, right? Then second question, which hill station does the author describe in this diary entry? Now he is describing about the hill station named Mussoorie, which is in Uttarakhand, right? And it is a very beautiful and mesmerizing place. And I really hope many of you might have visited also there. Then for how many days does it rain without stopping? What does the author do on these days? Now it rained continuously for 8 to 9 days as the weather was damp and soggy outside and there was no movement of people very often, so they have to remain in homes only, and he feels like he's locked in his room, and as he looks out of the window he can only see a few bobbing umbrellas. Fourth question, where do the snakes and rodents take shelter and why? Snakes and rodents, they come out of their holes and burrows and they take shelter in roof, attics and go down to save themselves from getting wet in this rainy season because their homes are filled with water, so they have to come out and protect themselves. Then the fifth question, what did the author receive in the mail? The author received a check in the mail. That was not a very large amount, but yes, he received a check in the mail, right? So the chapter is complete and I will post all these exercises in a separate video. Thank you.